So my name is Vijay Sagar. I'm in product management at CloudGenix, and we'd like to spend a few minutes with you talking to you about some of the things that we've done over the last 6-9 months or so since we last talked to you. So really, based on the last field day session that we had with you folks, you wanted some details and some deep dives into a couple of areas. One specifically was zero-touch provisioning. I think the ask was, everyone talks about it, show it to us. So we're going to take the opportunity to show you zero-touch provisioning, and after the show or after the session, if you guys actually want to do it for yourselves without supervision from any of us, you're more than welcome to do so. We also got some feedback around applications and application transactions, because with us, our architecture is really an application session-based architecture rather than a packet-based architecture. So we're going to go into a little bit of detail about what that means and the implications and how we're able to actually allow customers to define custom applications. And then thirdly, just a little bit more detail about how we do our application session-based analytics and path selection. Okay? So as always, this is interactive. Feel free to ask questions, and if I miss one, just pick up a piece of candy and throw it at me. That will definitely get my attention. All right, so a little bit of background. The last time we talked to you, believe it or not, we were still in stealth mode, and we were not generally available. So as of spring of 2015, we've launched both the company and have product availability, and we are in revenue and in production as of today. We've also closed Series B funding, 3 lead vendors, CRV, Mayfield, and Bain Capital Ventures. All right, and the next slide, please. This is our focus, as is everyone's focus, nirvana of the WAN. Today, WANs are primarily branch, funnel traffic back to a data center, then send it off where it needs to go. We really see the fact that connectivity needs to be ubiquitous and it needs to be transparent. I shouldn't care from a networking perspective if I'm going over LTE or the internet or over MPLS. The network and the system needs to accommodate for the changes in the underlying transport and choose the application path that's going to give the best performance. Okay? And it needs to be self-healing in that it needs to be able to detect underlying issues of those transports that would impact the application and meet a business SLA. Similarly, on the application delivery side, we're all used to now SaaS-based applications, cloud-based applications. And we were introduced to it not by our enterprise applications. We were introduced to it by people like Netflix, by Dropbox, right? All of these cloud-based applications that we've gotten used to at home that we're now bringing into the office, right, and that are now being adopted in the office. So that level of expectation in terms of the ability to dynamically change your application delivery model and have the network just work without redesign is increasingly critical. And we're seeing this in a big way in the retail sector, because these applications, these delivery models, they're not cost-saving issues. They're actually revenue-driving issues. So there's both a bottom-line impact as well as a top-line impact. Okay, and I'm sure this is apple pie and motherhood to all of you guys, so I'll skip through that. Next slide, please. And speaking about this a little bit, previous slide, right? Back 2000, when I first joined the world of networking after a few years in the Navy, we used to talk about carrier class. And carrier class was about the ability to deliver a ping packet from one end of a homogeneous network to another with 5 nines of reliability, right? So today, nobody gives you an award because you can deliver a ping packet, right? What people really care about and what people are asking the networking world to deliver is applications, right? The goal of the network isn't to deliver a packet. The goal of the network is to allow end users to consume applications and services to meet business objectives. So really, the focus is on both application reachability and application performance. And that application performance is really where there's the transition that we see driving from going from a packet-based model to an application session and a flow-based model. So we actually measure and control to application transaction time, not latency or packet loss, but true layer 7 application transaction time, as well as things like voice MOS score. We're playing a little bit with video in terms of video quality indexes, but there's not really a standard to define like a video equivalent of a MOS score, but we have some ideas on that we're working to. But really, these are the trends that we see software-defined WAN as being able to enable. Questions on this at all? Again, apple pie and motherhood. Next slide. 3 target use cases. I think last time we talked to you, we had 5 or 6 use cases that we were going to market with. What we've really seen is we've seen traction on the big 3. COTS x86 branch. This one surprises me a little bit because I've always thought that the x86 branch was one of those things where people said, yeah, we want like the idea of it in the future. We just want to know that you're able to do it. But we've got customers who are adopting this today. And the reason they're adopting it is because you go into overseas, clearing customs, delivering hardware is actually complicated. Right? Doing RMAs is complicated. It's easier for them to locally host a server or locally procure a server and host an application. So we're seeing huge uptake and interest in this, not for all branches, but for a subset of branches, and they're picking the form factor, physical or virtual, based upon the regional office requirements. The second use case is exactly what everyone's talking about, the hybrid WAN. And what differentiates us and what gets a lot of interest is not the fact that we're controller driven, everyone's got a controller, and everyone can support a hybrid WAN. But what gets the interest is the ability for us to do layer 7 internet brownout detection. So if the internet path, if I've got a misconfigured DNS server, or if I've got a proxy that's misbehaving or a peering point issue, we were able to detect that on a per application basis and re-steer the traffic. And then along with re-steering the traffic, we guarantee symmetry. Right? So these are the 2 or 3 things that are really, I think, impactful and exciting. And then, of course, on the application analytics side, this use case actually is coming to the forefront because we're seeing people asking increasingly for application-centric metrics from their networking infrastructure. The ability to see not just who my top talkers are by bandwidth, but the ability to see what is my voice MOS score for WebEx versus Skype versus Link? How is SAP application transaction time from Kalamazoo versus Kazakhstan? How is Office 365 SharePoint performing over time and at a particular location? There's a lot of interest in that because that's what people get called about. They don't get called about connectivity issues as much anymore. They get called about application performance, and they want to understand how that application performance ties to any network issues.